The Democrats and Joe Biden continue to negotiate among the donors about the passage of the infrastructure package. So now the infrastructure actually does come in two parts. There's the pro-corporate infrastructure package, of course, that's supported by Chamber of Commerce, fossil fuel lobbyists, big corporations, etc. And alongside it is the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill that would grant things like free childcare, climate change measures, and expansion of healthcare, Medicare specifically to cover things like dental, and other pretty popular proposals for regular people. So Democrats said, well, okay, we're going to pass this together. And the reason is, of course, that we're not going to decouple these, is so that both of them will pass. Because, Republicans and corporate Democrats are against the $3.5 trillion package. But progressives say, okay, well, we're not going to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill unless you give us the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. So that, of course, it really makes the Democrats have to face off against their donors, which are represented in this case by people like Josh Gottheimer in the House and Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin in the Senate. So they are the two right now that are holding up this vote. Gottheimer and I think 9 other corporate Democrats in the House tried to hold it up, but progressives were able to, since they do have a majority here in the House, along with other Democrats, decided to pass it anyway. So that's good. That's good. Now, that said, you've got the Senate Democrats that are holding this up. Now, of course, they're holding this up because, again, it's because of what the donors want. They represent the donors. Sinema, for example, has taken about $750,000 in bribes from the pharmaceutical industry. Now, part of the bill, the reconciliation bill, would allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry to bring down the price of prescription drugs. So now she keeps saying, oh, yeah, I'm against this. This is too much money. So people naturally ask her, okay, well, give us a number. Give us a number we can work with. And we'll pass it on to the progressives. We'll see what the progressives have to say. But just give us something. Give us a number. Let's negotiate. And she says, no, I don't have a number. Well, why don't you have a number? Because I don't want a number. I don't want to pass this because it enrages my donors. Now, Joe Manchin, of course, also doesn't want this, as I said, because he makes twice his congressional salary from investments in coal. Now, climate change, of course, the reconciliation package has limits on climate change, on emissions. And so that does not fit very well with Joe Manchin's personal income. And that's what's going on. His personal income is in jeopardy. So now he admitted that he already knew this and that he's been stringing people along for some time. In fact, on Thursday, he said he never even wanted to really work on the reconciliation package at all. In fact, he said it had been the corporate Democrats' plan to first secure passage of the fossil fuel-friendly legislation and then undermine the party's more ambitious reconciliation package, or just block it outright. So this is why, by the way, this is why you had to keep them together. Why you couldn't have the bipartisan infrastructure package pass first. Because if it passes first, then Manchin's going to blow up the whole thing, and we're only going to get the corporate-friendly version. So now, he told reporters on Thursday that on July 28th, he had secured a signed agreement from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer outlining his conditions for voting on the reconciliation bill. So now Chuck Schumer said, yeah, I saw that, but, we didn't agree to it. I just acknowledged that that was his condition. So what are his conditions? In addition to demanding a top-line figure no higher than $1.5 trillion, something he reiterated on Thursday, Manchin said in July that he wanted to delay debate on the reconciliation package until October 1st. So that would be literally today. Now, on Thursday, September 30th, they were supposed to have the vote. That vote, it has been delayed. So, all right, so let's break down his demands, right? So remember, the $3.5 trillion, he says, oh, it's too much, too much, too much, right? That's over 10 years. It's $350 billion a year. All right, so that's how the numbers. So don't be afraid of the numbers here. Because, oh my God, $3.5 trillion. You mean we're going to spend it today? No, we're going to spend it over 10 years. And when you look at it, when you look at other budget things, like, for example, the military budget, which is $770 billion every year, that comes out to $7.7 trillion over 10 years. Yet Manchin and Sinema, when you look at social spending, by the way, they both support that Pentagon bill, right? All that money going to the military, 100%. Oh yeah, no problem. We support it. Sure, great. We'll keep voting for it every single year. But on this, they're like, no, too expensive. How are we going to pay for that? Well, the bill, by the way, has some pay-fors that are built into it. For example, some of those pay-fors involve increasing taxes on corporations and the wealthy. Something that's popular among both parties, among most Americans. You're going to find a lot of agreement that corporations don't pay enough. They don't pay their fair share. So now the plan called for corporate taxes and individual tax rates of 26.5 and 39.6 respectively, according to a summary released by the Tax Writing Ways and Means Committee. The proposal includes a 3% surcharge in individual income above $5 million and a capital gains tax of 25%. Would also hike taxes on certain tobacco products. The proposal would also change or scale back certain deductions for high-income individuals, corporations to raise money. So you're doing a partial rollback, essentially, of Donald Trump's tax cuts for the rich. So now Manchin says, I'm not okay with spending $3.5 trillion. I want to go to $1.5 trillion. But I'm okay with raising corporate tax rates, but no more than 25%. Now, the Biden administration wanted to raise the corporate tax rate to 28%. Now he's saying, no, 25%. It is currently 21%. So I would say it's still too low. Now, Sinema comes in and says, actually, no, I don't want any corporate tax rates. No corporate tax hikes at all. But maybe I'll do a corporate carbon tax. So now she says that. Manchin says, no, absolutely not. We're not going to do a carbon tax. So they're both not only negotiating, or I should say arguing on behalf of their donors to the rest of the Democrats, they're also arguing on behalf of their respective donors to each other. And the result is we're not moving at all. We're not doing anything. And by the way, ironically, and these tweets have been deleted, by the way. There's a tweet from Kirsten Sinema saying, asking big corporations and the rich to pay their fair share is common sense, not class warfare. What now? Why the change of heart? Oh, right. She got paid over $900,000 in legal bribes from industry groups. In fact, her former aide is a top lobbyist for J.P. Morgan Chase, who was, again, one of the groups that is fighting against raising the corporate tax rate and against this infrastructure bill. As for Manchin, of course, Ari Natter, who was a reporter, had asked him whether an energy company he founded is a conflict of interest as he negotiates this reconciliation bill. Here's what he says. I've been in a blind trust for 20 years. I have no idea what they're doing. Really? You have no idea what they're doing? It's your money. Look, if I had money, which I don't, if I had that kind of money that Joe Manchin has, millions and millions of dollars, again, he makes not only his congressional salary, but also double that from fossil fuel holdings, his investments, run by his son. It's a lot of money. You're, of course, going to pay attention to where your money is. Aren't you? No, apparently not. Apparently, if you're Joe Manchin who sleeps on a yacht, you don't care at all. You don't know what are you talking about? Blind trust. I have no idea what they're doing with my money. Who? Now, the reporter followed it up, and this is kind of amazing because you don't hear about this a lot, on corporate news. But this guy asked, the energy company that you founded, your son still owns it, doesn't he? To which Manchin had replied, you'd do best to change the subject. Ooh. Oh, somebody's triggered. Not happy. Not happy about this at all. So now he's going to go around threatening reporters for asking about his own corruption. Turns out he don't like that. He don't like that at all. Especially when we're used to mainstream reporters essentially being on Manchin's side, which is starting to change just a little bit. I know they're still running like puff pieces about Kirsten Sinema. Oh, she's just going her own way, and she's an enigma. No, you look at the money. You look at her campaign donations. You can find exactly where she stands. Exactly where she stands. Now, the thing is, I think Manchin is overplaying his hand because I do believe the Democrats actually do want to get something done. Believe it or not, they want to stay in power, so they want to pass the corporate-friendly bill. That's going to please their donors, but they also have to get something to the voters. I don't think the full $3.5 trillion bill is going to pass. It would be amazing if it did, because it's a significant investment. But I don't think that they're going to go down to the $1.5 trillion either. I think it will probably end up somewhere in between 2.5 trillion. And again, that would involve progressives holding, and I don't want that to happen. But let's be real about that. When haven't we seen that happen? I mean, if they come up with a deal for them to take, I could see them possibly taking it. Let's hope that doesn't happen, and let's hope it's actually the corporate Democrats that fold in this case. But I don't know. That said, in this situation, it's kind of different what's going on here. In fact, the corporate bill was scheduled for a vote on yesterday and delayed even today. And as far as I know, they haven't held the vote today. It was possible that it could be planned today, that it might have happened today, but so far I haven't seen it happen today, and so I don't know exactly how this is going to go. I do hope that progressives do hold the line, and what's different here is that they are fighting for Biden's agenda, whereas Manchin and Sinema, in this case, they're the odd ones out that are fighting only for their donors, specifically, against everyone else. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.